What's going on, guys? I hope you're all having a wonderful day today. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Ty, and today in this video, we're going to be talking about an exciting rumor out of the MCU, that being that Shawn Levy might be directing Avengers 5, whatever, the title of that film is going to be. I know that it was the Kang Dynasty, apparently now it's untitled, but who knows, we'll get to that in a second. But this is some pretty thrilling news and just, finally some life being shown for this Avengers 5 movie that has pretty much just been in production hell. I mean, whether it's been writer changes, rumored directors. This is the first directing rumor that I feel like has been pretty solid. There's been some pretty reliable sources talking about Shawn Levy directing this film, but I want to discuss whether this is actually a good choice to direct Avengers 5 or if I think Shawn Levy's just not the man for the job. If I'm going to give you guys my honest opinion, do I think Shawn Levy's the man for the job? Not really, but I kind of have to, temper my expectations for one reason. For those of you that don't know, Shawn Levy is directing Deadpool and Wolverine, which, in my opinion, is a huge tell as to what Marvel feels about the quality of that film, because obviously all the executives and stuff have already seen the movie. We haven't, of course, but it's hard for me to judge him, whether he's good or not, to actually, make the fifth Avengers movie, because I haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine. I think that the biggest indicator for me is once I've seen that film, once we all have seen that film, then we can give our opinions. I have his filmography pulled up here just on my computer. He did Free Guy a couple of years ago with Ryan Reynolds. They pretty much have been building that relationship, which I think is great, that he's kind of making these big blockbusters, so he has some experience in that field, but I don't think it's anything to write home about. It's a fine movie, I'm sure. I haven't even seen it, but the reviews are whatever. Night at the Museum, which I personally feel is one of those things that was more a Ben Stiller project rather than actually, Shawn Levy. I don't mean to discredit him, but I'm just saying. Then from there, The Adam Project, another, Ryan Reynolds relationship type of movie. He loves Ryan Reynolds, so clearly something's going there. Also, Night at the Museum 2, Real Steel with Hugh Jackman. So this guy, he's been with all the Deadpool and Wolverine, actors over here. He's built this, trio relationship with them. And then from there, it's kind of just a bunch of other random stuff. Again, though, his track log isn't exactly that strong. I don't think he's the best director in the world, but I need to see Deadpool and Wolverine. The thing with these Avengers films, obviously, the first four, they're all pretty much great. I know Age of Ultron, it's a bit of a misstep, but that's okay. It was just a bump in the road. It's still a very entertaining film. This is arguably the biggest type of shoes that you could fill when it comes to making films. The Avengers films, they're such a large scale, some of the greatest shoes that you could possibly fill as well. I get it, there's other films like Logan that James Mangold directed, and, Captain America and the Winter Soldier that actually the Russos also directed, but the Russos have been basically, directing the ship of the MCU realistically, but with their blockbuster, large-scale movies that they've directed. They're great comic book directors, and I just feel like it's really tough to follow them up with Shawn Levy. But regardless, whoever's stepping into this role, it's gonna be tough for them. It's not gonna be some easy task. Apparently, there's also these rumors how Avengers 5, again, whatever it's titled, is gonna have over 60 characters. This isn't making Free Guy or The Adam Project, like what I'm looking at here, where you have just a couple of people in there. No, these are large-scale projects that are pretty much some of the most expensive movies ever made, some of the most hyped movies ever made, and this Avengers 5 movie, especially because, it's been a while since Avengers Endgame, is gonna have a lot of hype behind it. Of course, we don't know what the story is gonna be. We don't even really know any movies coming out after, Blade at this point. Of course, we'll probably get some announcements at, D23 this year, but it's just a matter of, do we trust Shawn Levy? The reality is, it's too early to tell. I know that we could look at his past record here, but that doesn't show enough. What's really going to show is Deadpool and Wolverine. And again, if they're ready to already hand him the contract to Avengers 5, that means they're super confident in this movie, and that means, hopefully, this movie's a banger. So we're just pretty much waiting to see it, and that gets me very excited. The only issue here is that I hope the film is written well, because the way that I see it is that the director somewhat relies on the writer, but the writer doesn't necessarily rely on the director. And don't get me wrong, they both work with each other, whatever. But if Shawn Levy is given a bad script, he's gonna kind of be fighting for his life to make a good film, which isn't really fair, and he's gonna get blamed for no reason. But if he gets a good script and then makes a bad film, that's on him, obviously. But we won't really know if it's a good script unless the script leaks, whatever. But it's just the point that he needs to get a good script. And you know what? I'll say, hey, give the guy a shot. Maybe, especially since he's already worked with Marvel, they're gaining some trust, like I already mentioned. I feel like I'd rather have someone that's already worked with Marvel and just understands their process, even if it's not on, the same scale as an Avengers movie, just to have a little bit more confidence in them and stuff. I feel like that's what I need for this Avengers 5 movie. I need a little bit of confidence going into this film. Not just me, but I'm talking about even just from the executives, from the director, because if I'm Shawn Levy, I'm saying, okay, I've already directed an MCU movie. That's such a huge, achievement for a directing career, even though, I know it's just like a big blockbuster, stupid blockbuster, whatever. Now, the stress is done, especially if Deadpool and Wolverine is really good. Now we can move on to Avengers 5, that next step. Maybe, especially because, he's worked with Deadpool and Wolverine, they'll be in Avengers 5, and we'll see them in there. I don't even want to talk about, like, Secret Wars and stuff, because, again, we don't even know what's going on with that. It might be split up into 2 movies, but at this point in time, do I think that Shawn Levy is the right director? I don't want to give a cop-out answer, but my final answer is just going to be that it's too early to tell. Right now, I'll lean, yeah, I think that maybe he's the right director, because you got to have some trust in the executives. I get it. They've made plenty of bad decisions over, phase 4 into phase 5. I mean, it's pretty much, destroyed the franchise of the MCU as a whole, but they probably already saw Deadpool and Wolverine, or like most of the cut, whatever, and they're like, this is going to be a good movie. Let's put him in Avengers 5, lock him up, and let's just focus on the story so that we don't have to worry about, oh my god, who are we going to hire? They have someone that they trust, and trust goes a long way. And at the end of the day, I, as an audience member and as a diehard fan, trust Kevin Feige and his judgment. So at this point, I just have to ride along until I see Deadpool and Wolverine. But guys, that's going to just about do it for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.